Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with another interesting topic on a yoga. And in my last video, I did discuss about Paap Kartari Yoga, and Shubh means auspicious, Kartari means a scissor, yoga, and how to not functional actually, natural benefits can create a major benefic effects for a particular house and planet sitting in that house. And today we will be talking just the opposite of that, which is how malefic planets sitting on both sides of a house can create malefic effects for that house and also for planets sitting in that house. And this yoga is called Paap Kartari Yoga. Paap could mean malefic and Kartari is a scissor. So if you translate this yoga into, or the Sanskrit word into English, it comes to be malefic scissors yoga. Does it make sense? Probably not, but this is how the translation goes, which means that like a scissor, it actually destroys or provides malefic effects to a house and planets sitting in the house in case there are two malefic planets sitting on both sides of the house, meaning which a malefic planet sitting in second from that house and a malefic planet sitting in 12th from that house can provide or can actually affect that house in a very negative way. And what are the malefic planets and benefic planets? And we're not talking about functional malefic or benefic planets. We are talking about natural malefic planets here, which are involved. And which are the natural malefic planets? Saturn is one major malefic planet. Then Rahu and Ketu both are extremely malefic planets. Mars is a malefic planet, and Sun is actually a cruel planet. It's called a Krura Graha. Krura means cruel in Sanskrit. Can be considered a malefic for the purpose of a Paap Kartari Yoga. So the malefic planets are Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, and Sun to some extent. And in case a malefic planet, which are of course again not functional malefics but natural malefics, come on both sides of a house, they destroy the house and the significations of that house. So they affect that house in a very negative way and also affect the significations of that house in a negative way. And also they affect planets sitting in that house in a very negative way. So for example, I'll give you an example. In case there is Saturn in the second house and Mars in the 12th house, which means the ascendant or the first house has an effect of a Paap Kartari Yoga, because there are two malefic planets sitting on both sides of that house, which is the ascendant in this case. It could be any house for that matter out of the 12 houses. So what happens is that the significations of the first house are severely affected in a negative way. And what are the significations of the ascendant or the first house? Well, the first house is the first house is the body, its general well-being, its health, so on and so forth. The signification first, the ascendant, which is us, our bodies. That particular house is going to be affected in a very negative way. And also, as an example, in case a planet Like, for example, Mercury is sitting in the ascendant or the first house, then that planet Mercury is also going to be affected adversely because of the effect of Paap Kartari Yoga. And how it will be affected is, first of all, we have to see what is the signification of Mercury. Mercury is about business, it's about intellect, um, it's about general pleasure at times. It's about trading activities. It's about communication. So all these significations of the planet Mercury are also going to be affected in a negative way. So the person whose chart we are studying basically will have a challenge related to the signification of the planet Mercury, which is sitting in the ascendant here, and which is having two malefic planets on both sides of the ascendant. So first we saw that it's going to affect the house and the significations of that whole house, and then it is also going to affect any planet which is sitting in that particular house. And so as an example, we are considering Mercury here. So Mercury in this case is going to be severely affected. Mercury is about youth as well, so the person may not look youthful in appearance. That's one of the other significations of Mercury, besides the other significations we just discussed. Also, you have to see the two zodiac sign and the two houses which the planet Mercury rules, which is the zodiac sign of Gemini and the zodiac sign of Virgo. And we have to see as to what houses those zodiac signs are representing in that particular chart. And so those houses and their significations are also going to be negatively affected. So this is the effect of the Paap Kartari Yoga, which I just explained to you as an example. However, another question comes up, just like we discussed in the Shubh Kartari Yoga. What are the effects of Paap Kartari Yoga on bad houses? Say, for example, Dusthana houses or trick houses, which are 6, 8, and 12. Now, the sixth house represents enemies, diseases, maternal uncles, so on and so forth. And if two malefic planets are sitting on both sides of the sixth house, what happens? Well, do you think that the signification of the sixth house are going to be negatively impacted or positively impacted? Negatively impacted, obviously, because it's a Paap Kartari Yoga and there are two Paap planets or two malefic planets sitting on both sides of the sixth house. And in case sixth house represents diseases, don't you think that these malefic planets will be able to control the diseases of that particular person? Or these malefic planets through the Paap Kartari Yoga will be able to control the enemies of that person? So one has to look at very carefully as to where the Paap Kartari Yoga is forming. Of course, sixth house signifies maternal uncle also. So in case there's a Paap Kartari Yoga related to the sixth house, the health or the auspiciousness of or the relationship with the maternal uncle may suffer as well. So look at it very carefully and do not generalize as to whether Paap Kartari Yoga is always bad for a house. What about the eighth house? The eighth house is about longevity. It's about accidents. It's about chronic diseases, past life karma. So what happens if Paap Kartari Yoga is formed on the eighth house, meaning which, in case there are malefic planets on both sides of the eighth house, of course longevity is going to be affected adversely, severely, because it's going to affect in a malefic way on the 8th house, so the longevity suffers. But what about other things, the negative effects, the negative significations of the 8th house? It may be able to control it, like for example accidents. 12th house is about spiritualism, intuition, about moksha. So yes, if there's a Paap Kartari Yoga on the 12th house, the positive significations of the 12th house may be severely affected. Another positive signification of the 12th house is bed pleasures. So these positive significations of the 12th house may be severely affected. But what about the negative signification of the 12th house, like imprisonment, hospitalizations? In case there's a Paap Kartari Yoga on the 12th house, then as a matter of fact, it may be able to control the negative significations, which is hospitalization and imprisonments. So that's been my experience in studying various charts which have Paap Kartari Yoga. A lot of astrologers may feel that regardless of whether a house is good or bad, Paap Kartari Yoga is going to give bad effects or negative effects only. And even if they are bad houses, all kinds of bad effects may be experienced. So in this case, I agree. Many astrologers may not agree with me, but that has been my experience. So I will recommend, please do some research. Go and study a few charts with Paap Kartari Yoga and look at what are the effects of Paap Kartari Yoga on good houses, and then also study along with it what are the effects in case Paap Kartari Yoga is formed in bad houses or something like a Dusthana 6, 8 and 12, and see what effects are felt in case there is a Paap Kartari Yoga, and especially during the dashas and antardashas, or period of sub-periods of those malefic planets. And then come up with your own conclusion and see. Study your charts, study your friends' charts, or for professional astrologers, study your client's chart and come up with a little conclusion here, because I do not think that either the Shubh Kartari Yoga or the Paap Kartari Yoga should be looked at in a very generic way. It has to be looked in a case-by-case basis. So once you look at it on a case-by-case basis, you will have a clearer understanding. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and in the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.